What's going on, y'all? It is almost Friday. But you know what, man? June is already wrapping up. What's going on? We're going to let the room fill up. Welcome to Making the Case. We back, y'all. We're going to be bringing this back with guests where we bring our features to life. We'll let the room fill up. You know what I'm starting to think? For the first person who joined our room today, which was the X Appeal and Check EXO, we want to give you guys a giveaway. So I want you guys to DM me and tell me your name, Lex Appeal and Checo. You guys were our first two people to log into our IG Live today. So I want to give you guys something. So I'll give you guys a digital coupon to help you guys with your law school journey. So go ahead and make sure you send me a DM. All right. So again, my name is Anthony Denmark, founder of Becoming JD. Welcome to Making the Case. Oh, I love how that crown kind of works, right? But go ahead. We're going to let this room fill up again. You know what, you guys? Let's go ahead and let the room fill up. As usual, today on Making the Case is a special segment that we do where we bring our features to life. Of course, one of the things that we do at Becoming JD is, of course, we showcase Black and brown excellence. People doing what you want to do, being where you want to be. And oftentimes, of course, we see the pictures. And you know what? They be flexing, they be flossing, they be looking fly, right? But oftentimes, you guys would love an opportunity to speak to these people, to find out about their stories. Because let's be honest, you guys, oftentimes when we are on this journey, you guys, a lot of times we feel like we're alone. We feel like we're by ourselves. So we're going to be bringing these features to life. Of course, Making the Case is something that we've done before. And Making the Case is something that we're going to continue to roll out. We're going to do it probably every other Thursday. If you are interested in being a featured guest on Making the Case, go to the link tree, go to the link in our bio. I think it's the top or second tab, and fill out that information. And guess what? You too could be a guest on Making the Case. So, of course, we are going to let this room fill up. Hey, Jamila, so proud of your sister. Yeah, I can't wait to hear what she's about to say. Let's see here. We got Miss Jessica. What's going on, Miss Jessica? We got Fatima Major. Thank you for joining us. We're going to continue to let the room fill up. Continue to let the room fill up. Again, tell me where it is you are in your journey to becoming a lawyer. Also, again, I want to give a big shout out to our two giveaway winners. Every time that we have a live, I'm going to make sure and drop something special to people who attend our live. So we gave two giveaways just now to our two people who were the first people to tap that enter and enter to the room. So, of course, we're going to continue to do that every time that we have a live, because we want to make sure that we not only are awarding you guys with information, but also equipping you with the skills to be able to take the next step in your journey, okay? So that could be us doing a free one-on-one session. That could be us paying for all your law school application fees. So make sure that you tune in. We want to make sure that we're helping you guys navigate this journey. So tell us where it is, Gabby. Tell us, Simply Lena, where it is that you are viewing our session from. I am, of course, in St. Louis, Missouri. So where are you guys viewing our session from? Go ahead and fill up our chat box with us, okay? Let's see here. And, of course, we are going to have the pleasure of having one of our features come to life today. We, of course, featured Rachel Reid earlier this week. Man, her story was powerful, y'all. Jessica, am I right? Is the story powerful? Is the story powerful? And so, of course, one of the things that I felt so moved to do, I was like, man, we got to get her on a live. We got to hear her share her story, because so many of you guys out there, Janae Mitchell, let's see here, Jamila Reid, let's see here, the X Appeal, are oftentimes looking for reasons to say that I can do this. And oftentimes when we see the struggles or we go through the struggles, we think, man, that's a sign from above that I need to quit. But really, man, that's so not the case. And so what I'm going to go ahead and do is get Miss Rachel Reid, who just graduated from law school. Congratulations, yo. And we'll get her on to share her story. We're going to drop some tips. We already did 2 giveaways already. I'm also, of course, going to tell you guys we're going to be having another class just for you guys. It's going to be posting very soon. So I want to make sure you guys will take advantage of that as well. I see we got GA Bay. She over here in Fort Lauderdale. We got X Appeal, Valdosta, Georgia holding it down. Dallas, Texas, always in the building. We see Fatima is over here in Orlando. We see Charleston, South Carolina. Always my heart, my home. I love that place. Got to get me some red beans and rice and some shrimp and grits. All right, so let's see here. Let's go ahead and get our featured guest on the line. Again, her name is Rachel Reid. We're going to give her the floor. Also, going to make sure we have some live Q&As for you guys. So let's go ahead and get her on. And also, of course, as always, what I tell people is that we are going to make sure that I promise I make to you guys is this. Is that we are going to answer every question that you have. If that means I have to go off a live and then go start a new one, I will. So fill our chat box up with questions. That could be if you're applying to law school now, because guess what? There's still law schools still accepting people right now. Or if you're applying to law school for the fall. Because right now we want to make sure that you guys get all those questions. Thank you, Experiment 626 for joining us. Thank you, Samantha, for joining us. Thank you, Mix, for joining us. So let's go ahead and get Rachel Reid on to go ahead and start this Making the Case for Your Lawyer Dreams. Let's take a sip of my Dr. Pepper real quick. Congratulations.
Hi, Anthony. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Can you hear me now?
Let's see it. No, I can't hear. I still can't hear you.
Give me 1 second. Let me try something.
You guys hear?
What about
One most of it.
you can hear me?
I hear you fine now. I had the Bluetooth on in my ears, and I took them off. I was like, okay, I know I hear, but nevertheless, you know what? We press on. We press on.
Okay, well, I'm glad you can hear me now. I was just saying again, thank you, Anthony, and Becoming JD for offering me this, opportunity and this platform to share a little bit more about my story. I'm so excited to be here. And thank you for the viewers too for just tuning in, and hopefully you guys can gain some tips and tricks, like I said, from me. So thank you.
Absolutely. Now, of course, one of the things I always want to start things off is when we oftentimes are in the midst of a struggle, we oftentimes feel that we're alone.
Right.
And one of the reasons why we created Becoming JD is because now you're able to look around and see that there's people like you achieving great things. And one of the things that's so amazing about you is that your story, you really just kind of really shared the transparency of your story is what made it so amazing. And I was like, man, is this what she's writing about? Boy, I'm sure she got some words to say this will add to it. So I just want to be able to give you the floor and talk about the journey that you had, not just before you got to law school. Like, how is it that you made the decision to apply to law school? What was that admission process like for you?
Great question. So as a young child, I always wanted to be an attorney. I grew up, of course, so many of us watching The Cosby Show and seeing, the Huxtables, that beautiful relationship between the lawyer and the doctor. And I was instantly inspired to, become an attorney.
All right.
Throughout my course of education, I, matriculated to college, and I started off kind of undecided. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew I always wanted to be a lawyer, but I wasn't sure. So I started taking biology and chemistry. I'm like, let me get that. Everyone in my family is in the healthcare profession. So I'm like, let me see, maybe I might have a little niche for it and not know. So that did not work out. I did not like it. I hated it. So I went back to my original passion, which was law. And after college, I took 2 years off. 1 year I just took to study for the LSAT. And then the next, well, to study and rest, I should say. I had to get my mind. But then the next year I worked at a law firm where I gained a lot of knowledge. And just with my LSAT journey, that itself was a struggle in itself, because not to say that I even did poorly, because I really didn't, but I took a law review course and an LSAT review course, and things went perfectly fine. I studied hard. I studied from morning to sunset. I made it like a job for myself, and I stayed on top of it, and I did okay. So foolishly, I applied to the top 20 law schools, excluding law schools in California and Iowa. But every other law school, top 20, big mistake in the country and American. And I got waitlisted for Vanderbilt and accepted into American, but I stand on the firm ground that everything happens for a reason, because
Absolutely.
when I went to Vanderbilt to visit, I spoke with a professor, and she just gave me some background knowledge and how like some of the Black students were struggling just to, to build that relationship with their teacher, because it seemed as if they were favoring the Caucasian students more than the Black students. And I was like, well, this might not be a great environment for me, because it's not clearly a nurturing environment. And so things, of course, not work out, and I ended up at American. And I'm so grateful to God that I did, because I will say, outside of, looking for these top schools, because everyone wants to go to, the first top tier law schools.
Yeah.
And that's kind of trendy, but that's not it. There's more out here. And at the opportunities that I received at American, I truly believe I probably would not have received those same opportunities at Vanderbilt. So that was my short snippet of my, admission process and how I got to American and so forth, and started my law school journey.
So again, we're on the line with Rachel Reid, recent grad, yo. She's like fresh from graduation, taking some time from bar prep. I'm hoping to drop some gems on us, you guys. Again, what I want you guys to be able to understand is that nobody's journey to law school is the same. Right. And oftentimes, one of the things we oftentimes think about, we oftentimes have this picture or this image of someone that's having the perfect scores, the perfect journey. And you know what? We're not good enough. Or, right. You know what? I didn't get the so-called score. So you know what? I should not apply. But oftentimes what I want you guys to be able to understand, and I'm sure Rachel can attest to this, is our uniqueness. It's the unique experiences that we go through that are ultimately going to be what separates us from everybody else. Because one of the things I can just guess, ballpark picture out there, right? I don't know, right? Is I can guarantee you that when Rachel wrote her essay, she shared something that somebody else didn't say. I'm sure if her sister Jessica was applying to law school, the same American probably would have wrote something different, because the goal is you want to make sure that you leave an impression, something that makes you stick. Now, I'm just wondering, curious, am I correct? Did you say something that made you stick out when you're in your application?
Absolutely. I mean, I at least try to. Absolutely. You said it, Anthony. Like, you have to have a story that will set you apart from the next applicant. And just, I'll give you guys a little background on what I wrote about was my journey to Kenya. I went to Kenya, I think it was my freshman year of college, for a mission trip. And I didn't write the ordinary story about, being a missionary and serving the orphans and singing up at the praise team and baptizing, the saints. My story was a little different in that while I was there, my belongings were stolen right off my lap. Right off, we were leaving on the bus, and someone ran up to us and snatched my bag with my camera. Thank God, not my passport though. But they took my belongings, right? And I was distraught. Like, I literally jumped out the bus and ran after this person. And coincidentally, when the cops did arrive, which was a good while after, because he went into the ocean, and I was right there behind him with my belongings. When they arrived, I was like, what's going on here? Why do we not have like the sirens going off and a group of cops running after this man and diving into the ocean after him? And they briefly explained to me, like, pretty much, sorry, honey, your belongings are gone, first thing first. And if we were to catch this young man, there's a possibility that he would be stoned to death. Now, whether true or not, who's to know? But this is what I was told. And I was so shocked when I heard this news. At one point, on one hand, I was like, oh my gosh, you know what? Let that young man go. Let him go.
Wow.
Come on now, let's get him. Get the guns, dogs. Let's get this man. So, fortunately for him, he got away. And, he wasn't stoned to death, obviously. But that gave me a perspective and like, wow, although this country is not perfect, and oftentimes I do believe, right, us as in, so I learned at least here we have a structure where when a crime is committed, although not always in our favor, the end results, at least there's a structure, in place to help those who are victims of theft, murder, rape, whatever it may be. Unfortunately, you could receive justice, God's willing. So I said that to say that was I wrote my personal statement on I don't know if I stood out, but hopefully I did. But you have to have a story, and it has to be something to stand out, to make you look different, to set you apart from the other applicants. And everyone has a story. It's a little difficult sometimes if you don't, sad to say, if you're not either poor or a genius, or, even if you're white, it might be a little more challenging to come up with a story, but you have a story. And if you have to go out there and go as far as Kenya, like myself, to create an experience, go right ahead. But yeah, I agree.
And that is awesome. And I hope you guys are able to sense from that story. It's almost equivalent to what we're doing when you guys write, you guys. We have to think, we're making headlines, right? And when we're making headlines, our goal is to be able to capture the attention of our reader. Mm-hmm. And of course, if we see certain stuff, we're going to want to read it. Just kind of think about it when we're scrolling through our Instagram. We see a lot of things. And that's what we have to think about in regards to applications. I never thought about it like this, but when we see something that catches our attention, like a reel or a sound or a certain word or a phrase, it makes us want to be able to learn more. And it's kind of similar to what happened with Rachel and her story. I'm like, oh, snap, this is a movie she over here talking about, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm imagining someone that's like, okay, we're about to stone him. No, don't stone him. He can have the stuff. You can have it. And so, but that gets people engaged. Right. That gets people want to say, hey, man, did you read this story that Rachel wrote? Oh, man, go ahead and pass this along. But also what it does, you guys, is what I want you guys to be able to understand. We oftentimes say this phrase, and I'm sure Rachel can attest to this. I wanted to be a lawyer my whole life. Mm. I knew I wanted to go to law school for a long time. Yeah. But then why does it not show on your application? Because if you know you wanted to do it your whole life, then that means that it has to show in our preparation. Yeah. How Rachel was intentional when she went and got internships and clerked with lawyers. Now, Rachel, I want you to share your experience in regards to how you got those internships, because sometimes a little people, let's be honest, man, we're scared sometimes. We're afraid that if we put ourselves out there, that people are going to say no to us. Right. And I'll just be honest. No is something that you heard a couple of times along your journey. I don't know about you, but I heard it a lot. So go ahead and share that experience with us, please.
Okay, no problem. So I'm going to give you guys two examples when I, applied to an internship position, and shockingly sometimes received the position. So, like I said, when I was living back home and took the year off, I got an internship position with a local attorney here. And how I got it wasn't through me, I can tell you that, because Lord knows I had no problem staying home, just resting, traveling, trying to live a good life. But my mother actually went ahead and faxed my resume to like 20 different attorneys in this town. And it was ridiculous. Suddenly I would be getting a call like, hi, is this Rachel Reid? Can we speak to Rachel? I'm like, no, who is this? And one time I actually answered, and the attorney who later became my boss and then my mentor, he was like, come in, let's do an interview. I'd like to get to know you. Tell me about yourself. And I was like, okay, let me just go ahead with it. This is good practice, even if I don't get the job. And I went on ahead, like, what you said, you have to step out there. I was expecting a no, because at that point I had gone on like 1 or 2 other interviews and it didn't work out for whatever reason. So I was like, okay, it's probably going to be a no, but I'm going to do it just to please my parents. I'm just get them off my back. And so I went ahead with it, and thankfully everything worked out so well. He was an excellent mentor. I learned so much about the job. Just being able to shadow him and go to like hearings and meet with clients. And honestly, I had some of my own cases as well, which was extremely stressful, but it gave me a lot of insight and perspective. So it's like sometimes when you are feeling like, you know what, they're probably gonna deny me, I'm not good enough, you still have to take the chance, because you don't want to the opportunity that could come with these internships. Mm-hmm. There, I did not learn in law school. I can tell you that right off the bat. I did not learn in law school. So it's like these internships are a must. You must put yourself out there, and it's hard, but you need a mentor. Get yourself a mentor to help guide you through this process, because they've been through it. They've done it 2, 3, 4 times probably at this point, and they can help you. And that will help you, through the ease of interviewing and, talking and answering the questions and so forth. So that was my first internship position. My second one was during, the one I'm going to tell you guys about, was during law school. My 1 year, I internship at DC Health. I just took a bunch of random courses, and health law was one of them. And so I was like, again, trying to see maybe this medical side could be something for me again. So I was like, let me try this internship. And it kind of just landed in my lap. Things worked out again. God was there for me. And I got the internship, and the experience was not as well. So I can tell you there's going to be good experiences and it's going to be bad experiences. But you have to be prepared for either one. Because at the end of the day, you need something to put on your resume. And you're going to learn. Whether it's good or bad, I learned a lot from that internship as well. And just in terms sometimes in just dealing with people. Like, you know, it wasn't such a big relationship, but I still end up learning so much. So put yourself out there, get help if you need it. Call on Becoming JD, call on your mentors, and have mock interviews. These internships and these clerkships, everything, they're a must. Not only do they look good on your resume, but they're going to make you a better overall attorney in the near future. So,
and again, we're on with recent grad, brand spanking new, JD still fresh, probably ain't even got dust on the graduation frame just yet.
So true.
Rachel Reid was over here dropping some bombs. And the thing that I really just want to stress to you guys is, listen, man, the way things start to work out for you throughout your law school journey, throughout your journey to becoming a lawyer, that's to you, Loyola, that's to you, Original Risa, the way things work out for you is you have to take that step outside of your comfort zone. You take that step out of your comfort zone when you write and you share about yourself. Rachel shared about herself. She she did something that made herself different. Now, I know that sometimes when we do things different, it's very uncomfortable. We don't know how it's going to be received. And so, she took a risk. And she literally produced a movie in her personal statement to the point that they were like, hold on, what happens next? And I'm sure oftentimes I'm sure may have happened to you, especially how you described your personal statement, is people start to follow up with you later. So what happened with your situation? Did you have anybody in admissions ask you about that once you got into the school?
Not really. I'm not going to lie. I really did not have anyone, come up to me and ask me about my personal statement. Oftentimes when I do tell that story, people think I'm lying. So thankfully I had a whole group.
But one of the things that you want to be able to catch people's attention, one of the things that I'll tell you guys, one thing that when we work with Becoming JD, we tell you guys things that you may not want to hear, but it's something that's going to be true. Now, I may sound like I'm coming at somebody's neck, but I want to tell you guys one thing. We are so much more than just our black and brown skin. We are so much more than just our gender. We're so much more than just the groups that we identify with. That could be binary, gender binary, LGBTQ,
Absolutely.
Our citizenship status. But we want to challenge you guys, and I challenge you guys, and I want anybody who's a mentor that's challenging you guys to go to law school to share something deeper than just that. Because a lot of people just say, well, I'm a black woman. Or they say, you know what, I'm a first-generation law student. Or you know what, I am a dreamer, or I'm a part of LGBTQ. Guess what? And this is going to sound weird what I'm saying, but guess what? It's so many people from those same backgrounds who want the same dream as you. So those things may have made you stand out in your small towns or at your schools where there's so few diversity or so few representation. But when it comes to writing your essays and presenting yourself to law schools, you're going to have to go a little bit deeper. You got to share a little bit more. You're going to laugh at this. How many essays, Rachel, do you think Howard and American got this year about Kamala Harris? How many essays do you think they got this year?
I'm going to go ahead. Thousands.
All right.
Thousands.
Okay.
Thousands.
And so even if you do have a compelling application, if you find yourself writing another Kamala Harris essay or dropping another Michelle Obama or Barack Obama quote or line, or maybe writing another essay about Black Lives Matter that's just like everybody else's,
exactly,
you're not going to stand out.
Yeah.
And so we want to challenge you guys to do what Rachel did. Inject yourself. Share your experience. And that's how you're able to help yourself stand out. I know I kind of went a little bit left with that, but I always want to make sure that no matter where you guys are, that you're able to get some information that can be helpful to you along the way. Now, one of the things I want to ask you, Rachel, is how did you respond when you start hearing your first round of no's? Because, when you start hearing no's when you applied to law school, when you hear no's when you didn't get that offer for that clerkship or that internship, how did you respond to that? Because I think a lot of people need to learn how to deal with handling those, because sometimes it's very challenging for people.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, rejection in any area is challenging, whether it's school, a boy or girl you might like, whatever the case might be. Hearing no It's not you is not an easy pill to swallow, but get used to it, get comfortable, because it's going to come your way. Doesn't matter how smart you think you are or how much you think you're a standout, you're going to hear no from time to time. And honestly, you can allow it to, to hinder you, or you can choose to, grow from the experience.
Yeah.
And I would say for me, because it was hard being rejected, it's hard. I felt it necessary to focus on, myself. First of all, don't compare yourself to others, but also to focus on just self-care, because no hurts, but you have to continuously pump into your mind, like, listen, it's not you, it's them. They missed out. You are it, girl. You are it. So they missed
I love that. I love that.
on their campus. You know what I mean? So during those days when I was getting those rejection letters and being told no for the internships or clerkships, I'm gonna take a little easy today. I'm gonna soak in the bath a little. I'm gonna put some
self-care time.
balls in the bath and put on my candles and some music and just relax and take this day easy, because you need that time sometimes to recover. Because again, no, it's hard, but you cannot dwell in that. You got to get back up, brush yourself out, and once again, do it again. Go again, apply again, put yourself out there again. It's going to build character. You've heard it before, but it is true. Yeah. Now I'm told no. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. I'm gonna try the next one, next round. I'm good, and that's the best way to see it. Because if you allow yourself to be like, wow, I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. There's something I'm missing. But Jenny keeps getting these positions, and Christy keeps getting up on, whatever the case might be. That's gonna stop you. That's gonna push you back in your growth and in your, your endeavors. So I would say, outside of self-care, get yourself a support group who is going to tell you when you can't tell yourself, you got this. You can do this. You're there for a reason. There's no one else out there like you. Okay, someone's gonna recognize that light in you. Okay, and grab a hold of you and be grateful for it. So I would say those, and outside of God as well. Jesus, pray. He will guide you. He will be there for you. Even when we doubt him, just know there's a plan for you. And sometimes he might be saving you. He might, we try to force these things sometimes. And it's like, you know what? In the end, even with me, with American, I really feel like things worked out for the better. So learn to take rejection. It's going to happen. Take care of yourself. Get that support team. And you're going to be all right. You're going to be all right. Keep putting yourself out there. Just keep putting yourself out there.
As soon as you said that, I started thinking about the Kendrick Lamar song. It's going to be all right.
Don't be all
right,
because play that music, because sometimes that will hold you down too. So play the songs.
Because the thing about it a lot of times is that we are always looking from the outside in. We are now in a I guess a society where people only share their wins. So we believe that nobody experiences losses.
Absolutely.
And so one of the reasons why your story was so amazing, because you shared your challenges. Yeah. And you shared the things that you went through. And so that helped people begin to normalize. Oh, so you mean that you can struggle and go to law school? You could have, you don't have to be this cardboard cutout that we've all created in our head. You mean that you don't have to have, you could, oh, really? And the thing is, it sounds like a joke, but that's what we've done to ourselves. We begin to find reasons why we can't do it.
Exactly.
And so one of the things that's amazing about your story is learning how to deal with the word no. Understand that everybody's been rejected from law schools. And guess what? What you have to be able to understand is it's not a sign from above that you need to go and stay at that dead-end job that you should have left years ago, right? No, it's just a sign that you have to pivot. It's a sign that some things that have to change. And one of the things that I want to also talk to you about is one of the things that you mentioned about, for me, I feel, is you have mastered the art of pivoting. We have set in our mind oftentimes, all right, I'm going to go to this school. Mm-hmm. This is where I'm going to go. Yeah. These are where my scores are. So I'm going here. Or you know what? I am not going to move. I'm going to the school within this region. I'm not moving anywhere. But I want you to be able to share in regards to how you were able to pivot. You had your mindset on where you wanted to go, but what your ambitions to be a lawyer, because when you had the dream of becoming a lawyer, it wasn't, I want to be a Vanderbilt law diplomaed lawyer. It's I want to be a lawyer. So if you
Period.
could share a little bit about how you pivot, because a lot of times we pivot so much, it's just become a way of life for you. But
Yeah.
oftentimes people have gotten so stuck in one position, they have been literally hindered. The reason why they're not finished with law school now is because they haven't pivoted.
Yep. I mean, that's a great point. I completely agree. And that's true. Same story with me. And so I can understand. I'm not going to knock those who are still trying to get into, their Harvard, Yale. Do your thing. Keep grinding. However, for me, it was necessary to pivot because I honestly had no choice. If I'm being honest with you. I mean, like I said, I did get a pretty good score, if I say so myself, on the LSAT, and still did not get to the top law schools, of my dream, right? And although disheartening, I had to move on. And I'm not one who likes change. I am not for change. So I completely understand when you have from a little girl or a little boy this idea of, wow, I'm going to go to Yale, and you have your sweatshirt and you're taking your pictures and so forth. I get that, I do, because I'm like that too. I'm sentimental. I have all these ideas in my head of what things should look like. You know what I mean? But I'm trying to think of the tools I've gathered in pivoting, because it's necessary to instill that in your life as soon as possible, because it's not just going to be law school. It's not going to be a job. It's going to be an internship. There's going to be so many times in our lives where we're going to have to pivot, whether we choose to or if we don't. So I would say finding ways to be more open with yourself, be kind to yourself, allow yourself the opportunity to pivot. Like if you sit here and hinder yourself with this idea that it has to look this way, it has to be this way. No, there's multiple ways it can look. The end result is just becoming an attorney. Period. It's not these schools. That's not going to make or break you. I'm telling you now. I've seen it. I know people who've graduated from top law schools and second tier, third, fourth, fifth, whatever the case is, and they're still successful. Those who did second, third, fourth, top tier schools. So get out of this mentality that I have to get into top 20 because you're wasting time. Your life is within your way. Keep applying, and it's not happening. You have to pivot, and don't be afraid to change, because sometimes the grass is greener on the other side. So try it, see what happens, and you really might like it. I will say this: if you do end up going to a second tier or third tier law school, I know a lot of people who ended up transferring the following year. So your dream could still be a reality, but you know what? Don't hold yourself back in trying to I gotta get in this school. This is the only option for me, because you're wasting time doing what your real goal is, and that's helping people or changing the world or whatever the case might be. So
what she said.
For this part, and go do what you're gonna do. Because if you really have a passion and a drive, nothing's gonna stop you. Not even the board of admissions will stop you from doing what you want to do. So pivot.
What she said right there, you guys. Understand, like she said, listen, there's so many different paths to go to law school, you guys. You can transfer. Also, one of the things you can do, this is, I didn't know a lot of people did, you can defer too, right? So that means, and for people who don't know, that means you can put off going to law school for a year while still having an acceptance under your belt. Yep. Now, of course, you have to spend some coins to save your seat, but still you would have another acceptance in your bag while you may want to take a year off, or maybe you want to take the LSAT one last time. Right. But nevertheless, oftentimes what you have to be able to understand is that whatever decision you make, what you want to do is continue to be moving forward.
Yes.
Right? We don't want to be stuck, okay? I oftentimes tell this story, and I'll tell the story. People may have heard it before. For those who haven't, it's going to be a crazy story. Okay. I had a friend who wanted to go to law school. Wanted to go to law school her whole life. She only had her mindset. She was one of those people who had the Harvard hoodie at a young age. And so it was only Harvard or bust for her. And she was one of my very first clients I ever helped. We were just helping her try to get to law. But her mindset was only on Harvard Law School. Now, I have several friends who graduated from there. Nothing against Harvard. But that was her. She had such a narrow focus. Right. She got into UCLA. She got into Yale. She got into Stanford. Didn't go to none of these schools. What? And has not gone to law school since.
Oh my God.
because it was only narrowly focused towards one. And I want you guys to be in a position where you realize that every last person on this chat right now, Rachel's already on that path. We are all on a path to change someone else's life.
Yes.
That's why we're here. We are here. We are, of course, the system ain't as bad as what Rachel described when she went on her trip. But nevertheless, it's up to us to change the system, you guys. And so I don't want us to be so narrowly focused on one school that not only does it impact our ability to be able to fulfill our dreams of becoming a lawyer, but it also impacts our ability to be able to help our future clients who were relying on us going to law school and manifesting our lawyer dreams. And so be willing to pivot, like she said. Be willing to expand and think about other options. Be able to understand as well that, you may have to drive. You may have to commute. I'm sure, Rachel, you had some people that were commuting down in American, am I right?
Oh, absolutely. Over an hour, 2 hours to get there. Yeah, absolutely.
And so, because I always look at D.C. as kind of being almost equivalent to the South. Literally, you are in, if you go drive far enough, an hour enough, you're in another state. And so be willing to pivot, be willing to expand, be willing to do whatever it takes. Because the challenges that Rachel went through are going to be why she's going to be a great lawyer. The challenge that she's gone through now is why when she's going to be one and done when it comes to the bar. That's why, for example, it's going to be appealing to her clients. That's why chances are what you saw in her personal statement, what you saw in her story that she shared on Instagram, just a guess, it's probably going to be on her profile at whatever firm that she ends up working at. Because those are things that are consistently going to show her character, show her work ethic, show her resilience, and it's going to appeal to people. And that's the same thing that every last one of you guys out here who are listening to our IG Live have an opportunity to be able to do. Am I right, Rachel?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so one of the things I want to do, because I know you guys are studying for the LSAT or preparing for your externships or internships, is I want to, of course, open the floor up to questions. Also, I want to let you guys know that if, in fact, you are still applying to law school now, we, of course, just posted our class. We're going to be having a get your applications done in 10 days or less, where we're going to teach you guys 3 classes on how to write your personal statement, your diversity statement, your essays, find schools for you. We're going to do it in a 10-day period, 3 classes, and you can sign up for it, and we'll edit all your essays for you along the way, because we want to make sure that you guys are getting ready, okay? And that's something that could be helpful for people who are applying now, or also for people who are applying for the next cycle. Because, Rachel, one of the things I always thought about myself, I said, man, why did I wait so long to do my applications? I could have done those things a long time ago.
That's so
and then spend all that other time hustling, trying to get scholarships. Or, you know what, hustling to try to get more clerkships. Because to get that out of the way, because a lot of times we just spend so much time waiting until LSAT time to be able to do our stuff. We get it done soon and get it out the way.
Yeah, I completely agree. I would say the best thing to do is to set up a schedule, like a whole timeline of events for yourself, for whatever. If you're in your last year of college, or you're taking the summer off, set up a calendar for yourself and stick to it. Stick to your schedule. Today I'm going to start applications. Today I'm going to put in my fee waiver, or whatever the case might be. Applying for scholarships. That's something I definitely wish I did, because I dilly-dallying, and then boom, deadline coming up, and it's all rush.
Yeah.
If you want to be able to take your time and plan out your thoughts and ideas, and for your essays you're going to have to write for your scholarship. So really plan that out. And it's challenging to stick with the schedule when, everyone's outside this summer. But you have to. If you want to be successful, it's only for a temporary time, and then you're done. So try to stick to that calendar and that schedule. Anthony, before we get to questions, I just want to throw in a few more tips and tricks briefly about...
Drop them gems, sis. Drop them gems.
Okay, great. Just really quickly for rising 1Ls, or when you get into law school, and what to do when things become a little challenging, outside of reaching out to these resources like Becoming JD. Because had I known this existed, who's to know where I would have been? You know what I mean? So utilize these tools, because this is an amazing program that you're offering to so many, and I think it's great. So Outside of becoming JD, I have a short list of things that I'm going to just list briefly for you guys that could be helpful in your 1L, 2L, 3L, all 3 years. So I would say in my first year, like I did put in my comment, I struggled. And rather than just sitting there trying to figure things out for myself and what I'm going to do, okay, let me try this method and that method, I went ahead and I called myself a tutor. Do not be embarrassed or ashamed to get help. Call a tutor. Like I said, there's so many people who went before us and done this already who could help you, you know, without you having to try to figure things out for yourself. So I would say first, get a tutor. Speak with advisors. Whichever law school you attend, they're going to have a office of academics that could help you to maybe offer tutors or could help you, you know, deal with different tips and help you just plan your life. Like I actually went and one
Yeah.
the advisor made a whole schedule for me to follow. She was like, this will help you. It's not that you're dumb, you're not stupid, you're not a dumb person.
Right.
Just you need help organizing your life a little better, you know? And so your advisors could be helpful. Speak with your professors. Go directly to the source sometimes. I say, I'm not understanding torts. I don't understand.
Yes.
Can you help me? Break it down for me. Because sometimes, you know, Barbary or Kaplan or these videos we watch or the teacher is just reading the case. You might be missing the element to prove duty, breach. You know what I mean? These things.
Yeah.
Right? And go to the teacher. Go to the office hours. Ask them. Like, I'm trying to get a better score. Like, I want to do better. On my exams, on my quizzes. Can you help me? What should I do? What am I missing? Also, I would say get outlines and other supplements. To be quite honest, there's no time to read every single 15 to 50 page case, okay? So go ahead, get on Quimby if you have to. Quimby will give you a nice little breakdown, if you know, of the case outline. Ask your 2Ls and your 3Ls, hey, do you have an outline I can borrow? Because that might help you. You know, make your own outline, or sometimes you could just use their outline because they did it such a job. Get outlines, create study groups. You know, you're going to make friends in law school. Let them help you. I mean, if you're one of these people who cannot study with people, I do not advise you, you know, join a study group. I'm not one of them. Once I get to talking, I'm a little long-winded, as you guys may see. So it might not work for you. You might just need to study alone or with 1 or 2 people. So figure that out quickly. And if you are one of those people, join the study group and get that help. Also finding the best times and places to study is very helpful. Like for me, the library was not it for me. I could not study the idea of, wow, there's hundreds of us in here and are these people smarter or more than me? Am I missing things? It wasn't for me. I had to go home and be in my own comfort and keep my anxiety at bay. And so the library wasn't for me. And I also realized that morning time, I would get up at like 4 or 5 in the morning and do my studies, read my cases, do my outlines, do my legal rhetoric assignments and so forth. So find that time for you. And I honestly would suggest doing it now before you start law school. That was another big mistake.
Yeah.
Figure that out now. Learning how you study. You know, are you a visual? Do you like videos or do you want to underline and highlight? You figure that out again. This is the time. So yeah, that was the last one for me. But these are the things I would suggest doing now. And when you are in law school, when you have your professors and advisors who can help guide you, that can make you an overall better law student, and things I honestly wish I did sooner. That's gonna help you in ways you cannot imagine. But do not wait. Don't just keep relying on yourself. Like, okay, let me try this method or this, or Johnny's doing it this way, because what's for them might not be for you. You know what I mean? So make sure, go right to the source if you have to. Get outside help, call a tutor when it's one-on-one so you don't feel so ashamed or embarrassed or whatever the case might be. And that, I feel, truly can help you along the way. And continue using resources like Becoming JD. So.
Y'all catch all them gems? Y'all catch all them? Because the thing is, I want you guys to understand is that you get to that space once you become comfortable enough to step out your comfort zone.
Exactly.
To be able to say, I don't know. To be able to say, I need help. I know oftentimes, it could be very isolating preparing for law school, preparing for the LSAT. I mean, a lot of this journey literally does feel like this is really you by yourself riding solo. But there are resources out there. And in the same way that Rachel talked about, you know, reaching out to get help, with your professors. I got kicked out of my professors' offices, and I would sit there in front and outside the office and work. Because the thing is, that is passion, you guys. That shows law schools. That shows That's how you get great letters of recommendations. I'm sure you got some fire ones, didn't you, Rachel?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
But it first starts with you stepping out of your comfort zone. And one of the things that's amazing is if, in fact, you are experiencing challenges with getting rejected from law school, experiencing challenges with having to retake the LSAT, you are literally right now being forced out your comfort zone to find those answers. And that's going to be the best thing that could ever happen to you, because it's going to force you to be able to evolve and be able to understand, okay, I don't know, but you know what? I could go and find the resources that will help me. So if you're struggling with getting rejected, that means that you have to find out, well, what's going wrong with my application? Because there's something else that's missing here. Because I'm here to tell you, and I'm sure Rachel's going to attest to you, you will be shocked, you guys, to find out that there are people in law school who had lower LSATs than the ones that you got.
Absolutely.
There are people who got money to the same law school that may have rejected you. They had lower LSAT scores than you. So it's all about your presentation and all about showing law schools your passion and being able to convince them that you have an authentic story and that you're going to add value, just like the amazing story that Rachel added in her personal statement. And so, again, I want you guys to step out your comfort zone. We have resources available for you to get help. And one of the things I tell you is, listen, man, if we could shoot our shot into someone's DMs to try to get discounts on bundles or to get Yeezys or to get everything else, you know what? We could shoot our shot at all these amazing black and brown law grads to be like, hey, listen, I'm looking for a mentor, and you are exactly where I want to be. Can you tell me advice? You know what? Some people may not respond. Don't blame them, though. They're studying for the bar. Yeah. But understand that by putting yourself out there, what's the worst that can happen? It could lead to very fulfilling relationship that can help you be able to successfully navigate this process. Because guess what, you guys? We need more. We need you guys. We only have 2% black women lawyers. We only have 2% Latina lawyers. We need more black and brown lawyers. And so we are all here as a resource to help each other. And do not be afraid to ask, because every lawyer, every law student, every professor who practices law has literally been where you are in that constitutional law class, looking around like, oh my God, are we really about to talk about this? Or in that situation of trying to figure out how to navigate their journey while being by themselves. Absolutely. But again, you're not alone. Yes, you'll have BALSA, but you have an entire community with Becoming JD and all these other brilliant black law grads that get added to the equation every year that are here dedicated to help you guys along the way. So if you guys have some questions, please drop them in here. I already see we got 3 questions. I'm going to go ahead and ask them for Rachel. And so one of the questions someone asked you, Rachel, is they said, did you work during law school? If yes, what were your tactics in maintaining a balance?
I did not work during law school. There was no possible way, I can tell you now, I was going to be able to manage the course load and working at the same time. However, I did have friends who did. And from what I gathered from them, they struggled. Like, it was very challenging. Granted, I don't know what their course load and their credits were, but they said it was challenging to work during law school. So I personally believe if you can, try to make law school your full-time job. You know what I mean? Again, it's a 3-year investment. Do it and you're done if you can. But I understand in many, situations that cannot always be the situation. You might, have a husband or a child or a wife or whatever the case may be that you have to still support. And if so, talk to your advisors, get the help in helping, at least scheduling the right courses that, could be a little lighter than when you're working. Some semesters, if you're working, some courses that are not, less rigorous. That could definitely help make you ease up and help the balancing act a little better, if I were to say. But if you don't have to work, don't. Law school is enough job, if you ask me.
And what I would add to that is also consider part-time programs. And part-time programs, oftentimes in the application process, there's a separate admission where it's less competitive because fewer people are applying for the part-time programs. And also for people who say, man, I ain't trying to spend 7 years in law school. No, it ain't that. Oftentimes these programs are part-time, and literally you could take, let's say, you know what, I want to hurry up and finish. You could take a summer and you could catch up with your graduating class. Very true. So there's several part-time programs out there for you to consider. But Rachel's right. if you do not have the time, please do not try to squeeze it in, because it will show on your performance. And let's be honest, man, law school ain't cheap. Ain't cheap enough for you to be able to make those type of experiments. And we don't want you guys to take those risks, okay? All right, let's hear another question. Thank you, Jessica, for asking your question. Shine Your Light says, how did you obtain a job at a law firm before starting law school? Oh, I love the. Oh, I can't wait to hear you answer this, because this is one of the biggest myths that people have out there. Go ahead.
Again, well, my mother put on my resume. I'm trying to think what exactly. I went in as an intern, so you could definitely be an intern. You do not have to be a student already. You could just be an aspiring law student, right? And so I put out my resume. I got the interview calls, and a lot of times they're just looking for help. And sometimes it might just be volunteer work. This, fortunately, thank God, it was not. I did get paid, thank the Lord. But sometimes you might just have to go in as a volunteer and just assist, and that might just at least give you experience. Because a lot of times, the law schools love to say, what's your experience? What's your experience? What's all this experience? You just graduated from college. What's all this experience you're looking for? I haven't worked as an attorney. So it might not be a paid job, but trust me, everyone's always looking for free help. So as a student, as an aspiring law student, or trust me, just send your resume, email them, call, ask, Indeed, whatever. They're looking for help, honestly, an intern. So that's how I did.
And at the end of the day, Rachel, all you can do is shoot your shot. The worst thing that can happen is it's not that they're going to send you a message, hello, Anthony? Hell no. And hang up the phone, right? That's not going to happen. So you're just not going to get a response back. And oftentimes, by putting yourself out there, that really, especially if you're not a law student yet, that shows something. And that could lead the path to you getting letters of recommendation as well, all right? And the other thing, I'm going to tell you another secret. You're going to think I'm being sarcastic. You don't have to be a law student to get a clerkship with a judge either.
That's true.
Shoot your shot.
Shoot.
Ask yourself, what can I do to make myself different? While everybody else is over here dropping LORs from their professor from Econ 101, you can have a LOR from the federal court judge. They'll be like, hold on, you getting clerkships and you are undergrad? Hold up. That shows something different, right? So shoot your shot. Again, ain't nobody going to call you up and say, do not apply here ever again.
Exactly.
So put yourself out there. It could be the biggest difference that could pay dividends for you, not just in getting into law school, not just in securing a clerkship after you, while in law school, but in you securing a job after law school.
Absolutely.
So shoot your shot. And one of the things that I always think is amazing, it's kind of sad, but true, is because there are so few judges who look like me and you, is oftentimes if you shoot your shot at them, a lot of them are going to give opportunities to you because they know how it's been when they were alone and isolated in that space that you're trying to get to, okay? So shoot your shot. I know in South Carolina, there were only like 4 judges that looked like me or you, so I applied to all of them. So, and 2 of them were relatives. So it's like, put yourself out there, okay? And that's how things are going to pay dividends for you, all right? So let's go ahead and get some more questions that we got here. All right, let's see here. Simply Tina says, if you don't mind answering, I don't know if you want to answer this question. I'll answer the question. You don't have to answer, Rachel. What was your LSAT score that allows you to accept your law school letter? And I'll tell people, oftentimes people are very private with their LSAT scores. I'll tell you mine, but, I'll just tell you guys, oftentimes you don't ask me, what was your LSAT score? You don't ask that a lot. I'm sure you get that a lot your first year of law school. But then after that, people stop asking.
Right.
Because the people who were asking it oftentimes are the ones who aren't doing well in law school anymore. But nevertheless, when I first went to law school, because I got dismissed from law school the first time. I didn't get it right the first time. I got it right the second time.
Okay.
But when the first time I applied to law school, I got a 147. And I got into about 7 schools.
Wow.
And what you have to be able to understand is that with the scores that they are now, the scores are going up. Everybody's going to law school because of the pandemic. People are changing their paths. And so now it's going to be very challenging for us to be able to get in with scores that we may have gotten with before. So it becomes important for us to be able to add more sauce to our applications and our resumes to give them reasons to not be able to question our LSAT scores. Because we've helped people get into law school, Rachel, with people who've had 129s before. But
Yes.
it's because we put a whole bunch of sauce in that on that application to really eliminate those concerns. So don't just focus on your LSAT scores. Oftentimes, it's going to be something more that's going to be the difference with whether a school will accept you or not. You have anything to add to that, Rachel?
I will say I'm not gonna give my LSAT score. I will still go on and say that it was not a bad score at all because once again I at least did get waitlisted for Vanderbilt, right? So it wasn't terrible. However, I gotta say LSAT is not everything. It's
It's
not
not.
all be all. Like stop trying to kill yourself out and stress yourself about this score. Like that's just one aspect because even with my decent score, I still didn't get accepted into the other top law schools I applied for, right? And so sometimes it has nothing to do with the score. You're just not what they're looking for, and your timing might be off, you know? Because, like I said, I did know some other students who, again, share their score. These kids love to share their score for whatever reason. And I was like, wow, that was lower than mine, but yet they were at Yale or Duke or, you know, these top law schools. So it showed me that, look, even with this decent score that was higher than these other students, you still didn't get the position. So it might not just be, you know, they're looking for more elements just besides the LSAT. So don't think that this is everything. I got to get this 160, 165, whatever. No,
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
other elements. You're more than the LSAT. Okay, don't let the LSAT, that score, don't let it stop you. There's other things about you that they want to know and they want to see because something different that can make you a better lawyer than the person with the 180. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Relatable or you have more different experiences. So I will say they're looking for everything.
Hmm.
Open
And again,
up.
we just launched a course that you guys can sign up for right now. Link in our bio, where we're going to help you write every part of your application in 10
That's
days or less. We're going to teach you how to write it. We're going to show you the winning formula that's helped us get people into law school. Because, like she said, it ain't just about your LSAT scores. They want to know about the people. They want to know about who they letting into their campus. They
yeah.
want to know who they about to. Don't you want to know with things going on right now, Rachel?
Oh
Don't
yeah.
you want to know who you sitting beside?
Yep.
It ain't just about the LSAT, you guys. It's about them being able to find out who you are. And so you can sign up for those classes in the link in our bio. In addition to that, I want to thank Rachel, man. Again, we want to give her all the flowers. Congratulations. Show her all the love. She
Thank
just graduated, took some time from her bar prep to share with us. I want to thank you, Rachel, for joining us, for making the case. I can't wait for us to have our next guest on
you. Yes.
next week or the week afterwards so we can continue to let people know that guess what? We out here doing great things. We got people who look like me and you doing great things. And guess what? They can follow in your steps and do the same thing as well. You have any last words for the people out there, Rachel?
Once again, I just want to say thank you, making the case, becoming JD and Anthony, for allowing me this opportunity to share my story. I truly do appreciate it. I truly do appreciate it. And I just want to thank the viewers who were able to tune in for 5 minutes, 20 minutes, the full session. Thank you so much. I really hope that I was able to, you know, give you some tips that could help you in your law school journey. I'm available. DM me, like if you're saying, if you have any questions, I'm here to help. And continue using sources like Becoming JD to get you where you need to be and where you want to be. So thank you.
All right, good luck and congratulations in advance on passing the bar.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You take care.
All right.